So this is guest room 12 of Clay Club Europe, I think. And we've got Nick, the CEO and co-founder of HeyReach, the legend himself. And I think the best place to start is Nick, if you could just introduce yourself and just tell us about how this product even came about. Like how did you start? Because I think it pivoted earlier on. It was a Reddit tool or something first, was it?
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Nick. I'm the co-founder and CEO of HeyReach. And to get back to your question, actually we pivoted away kind of like from a previous product. So before HeyReach, me and Stefan, my co-founder, we met in university. We kind of like tried building a startup like 10 times. We failed pretty much everything that we built. And finally, we found our first commercial success with a Reddit marketing tool called Howitzer. It allowed you to find your potential customers on Reddit and automate the way you're reaching out to them using Reddit DMs. And it was like pretty popular back in 2021, like especially amongst the crypto, NFT, and OnlyFans communities. People were reaching out and sending DMs on Reddit, and the average reply rate back then was 41%. So it was kind of like
Wow.
a gold mine, unused channel. Like people started using it a lot for these purposes. And of course, Reddit didn't like us offering a tool for the OnlyFans, crypto, and NFT guys to do the marketing. So we kind of like sadly had to shut it down. We shut it down, but back then we had kind of like a couple of prototypes that we built for other social networks. Like our whole idea was to build one tool. We back then it was the growth hacking era, so we were calling
Yeah.
them growth hacking tools. We wanted to build the ultimate growth hacking tool where you can source your leads from anywhere, like I don't know, Product Hunt, Indie Hackers, Reddit, Twitter, wherever, and reach them on all of the social networks and
Yeah.
reach out to them on whatever channel you want to. Like you want to reach out to them on Reddit, you can do it. You want to reach out to the lead on Twitter, you can do it. LinkedIn, email, stuff like that. And so we had prototypes built for Clubhouse, for Twitter, and for LinkedIn. I originally didn't want to build a LinkedIn outreach tool. Like it was never the end goal, but it was kind of like a stepping stone. We saw that there's like a lot of players in the LinkedIn outreach space. So by the book there is a product market fit in this niche, and we kind of like saw another thing that all of these LinkedIn outreach tools were built for individual users. That meant you connect your LinkedIn sender and you can automate to scrape leads or do campaigns or stuff like that, but you couldn't connect multiple senders on one campaign. So in order to scale LinkedIn, you are maximizing the limits of one LinkedIn account. I thought that this backdoor is going to be closed. So we start building on an idea that, okay, we are going to build the first LinkedIn outreach tool that's for multiple senders. The same thing as Instantly did, like instead of one email account being the sender, you can connect unlimited email senders and it's going to start rotating through all of them. Our previous tool, Howitzer, it was built the same way. So for me, it was like when I saw that all of the LinkedIn tools are built just for individual LinkedIn accounts, I was like, wow, like really? So we kind of like went in that direction and we built it that way. Unlucky for us at the beginning, nobody needed that. But somehow LinkedIn decided to close the backdoor where you were able to send like 100, connections per day. They reduced it to like between 10 and 40 connections. So out of the blue, running with multiple senders started making more sense. And
Okay, very interesting.
yeah.
And then, so at what stage did that become the core product? So you had this whole suite of different tools, and channels, and then different directions for the product. When did you decide, okay, we're going to go down this HeyReach path?
So we shut Howitzer down in the summer of 2022 and kind of like summer autumn. Then we started building HeyReach October 2022. We released it in April or May 2024. No,
Hmm.
2023, sorry. So kind of like that was the moment when we decided, okay, let's niche down to one product. Let's start making revenue from this one product and raise money and start building the bigger vision. Because like I was living in a denial for the first couple of months. I didn't want to build like I was thinking, oh, we are gonna build a Me Too product. We are gonna build another LinkedIn outreach tool on the market. So it it wasn't my goal to stay focused on LinkedIn for the first couple of months for sure until we saw that. there is actually a need and there is a huge gap that we can fill.
And this is after LinkedIn introduced that restriction that allowed you to send, that allowed people that made people want to use HeyReach more in this rotational based system. And once you got a bit of traction, was it, or was it before that?
Yeah, so we launched here it's April or May 2023, and LinkedIn introduced this change in June, July. So
Ah, okay, very, very cool.
yeah, it was kind of like
Okay.
a perfect timing for us.
And then do you think that was one of the biggest aspects of like the ridiculous growth of HeyReach? 0 to 10 million in 29 months is absolutely absurd.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think that was the thing. I
no.
don't think that was the thing. Like, in my opinion, it started by us focusing on lead gen agencies. Like
Hmm.
before that, for the first 6 months, we couldn't scale. Like for the first 6 months, we were fluctuating between 8 and 9 thousand MRR, and we tried everything we could. We tried AppSumo and stuff like that, and we couldn't scale. And I was I was almost sure that we should niche down to something, but I wanted to niche down to recruiters. I wanted
Okay.
to build HeyReach as a LinkedIn outreach tool for recruiters. And then Ilya, my CRO, he came to my office and he was like, dude, so far I have had 597 demos, and I think we should niche down to lead gen agencies. I was like, no, no, no. Let's go for recruiters. Agencies, they have tools, stuff like that. We kind of like I listened to him. We niched down to lead gen agencies. We launched the offers that we had for an agency and unlimited. And the next month we doubled in revenue. The next month we doubled in
Okay.
revenue. The next month we doubled. So kind of like it was clear that we should go in this direction. And luckily for us, Clay back then launched the Clay agent when it became
Yeah.
popular among the lead gen agencies. And they had this integration with Smart Lead where you could, in the table, have one button add to Smart Lead.
Mm.
And apparently somebody called us Smart Lead for LinkedIn or Instantly for LinkedIn. And I took a print screen of that and I put it on the website in kind of like testimonials. And I started going everywhere and being like, hey, we are Instantly for LinkedIn. We are Smart Lead for LinkedIn. And all of these agencies, who also the agencies were starting back then. Like you had the Cold IQ and kind of like 2 or 3 agencies who started creating content. Because before that, the agencies were growth hackers. And after this inflection point with Clay, they turned into influencers. LinkedIn influencership didn't exist back then. It was just starting. And all of these agencies were kind of like sharing what they're doing. I'm using Clay to source leads and I'm sending them to SmartLead. And out of the blue, everything was filled besides the LinkedIn segment. So they started adding HeyReach, like oh Clay, HeyReach, SmartLead. You can use these tools to reach out to your leads. And some people start calling it the Holy Trinity or the Holy Trio. And these agencies are creating graphics and are posting on LinkedIn about Clay, SmartLead, and HeyReach. The new agencies are popping up, seeing what these guys are doing and copying the stuff. Back in the day, even copying the same graphics. It was super early days of LinkedIn creators and LinkedIn influencers. This is like 2023, I think. Yeah, it
Okay.
was 2023. And out of the blue, everyone starts kind of like talking about us, share about us. We are part of every stack. And it was January or February 2024. We were like, okay, we don't know anything about the market. Let's kind of like remove our roadmap. We wanted to build data and email and multi-channel and dialers and stuff like that. We're like, okay, let's remove everything and let's just create a closed lost roadmap, like all of the deals that we have lost on calls and all of the users, the reasons why they churned, and let's only build that. We segmented the top 3 most requested features. We just built them like super fast, no testing, no stuff, just ship them, and we see the revenue grows. People love them. So we select the next things, the next things, the next things, and slowly it became kind of like we were just building what the users want. And then
Mm.
integration with Clay happened, and we were pretty much the only LinkedIn outreach tool for lead gen agencies back then. And I think those are kind of like the reasons why we start growing, and we are still growing that fast.
Okay, very cool. So it's mainly like market pull. You built for your customers. You realized what was working, what wasn't working, and you adapted based on that. It wasn't just like a founder intuition where you said, "Listen, this is what I want to build," and you
Exactly.
built it. If anything, it was the opposite, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then like What were the levels? Did it just continuously progress, or where did things break? Did things break at 2 million, at 5 million, at 7 million, 9 million, 10 million? When did things start to break? When did you need to pivot? Or was
Uh,
it smooth sailing?
it was pivoting on the previous company from the Reddit marketing tool into the LinkedIn outreach tool.
But after you started seeing some success with Hayridge, or was it just grew really fast?
We didn't plateau at any point.
Very good.
We had one situation like when we hit 6 million, it was this summer, around June for 19 days. We started plateauing for 19 days, and I was like, okay, this is wild. Like we were growing like 3K MRR per day, and out of the blue we started plateauing. And I was like, okay, this is the point. Because like when I talked with some of the founders in the same industry who are also building
Yeah.
LinkedIn automation tools, most of them started plateauing around 4 to 6 million. And I thought, okay, we hit 6 million. This is the point where we are plateauing. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Let's see what happened. But apparently it was a seasonality. And after the next month, we continued growing as we were growing. And I don't think we kind of like plateaued so far. Like it's been a consistent growth. For example, February, in this month in February, because after 10 mil, I thought, okay, we are gonna slow down. Like the market is not that big. We're probably gonna slow down at some point, and I thought that point is around 10 mil because none of the other LinkedIn tools were bigger than 10 mil so far. But actually, in February, we added twice the revenue that we added in January. So I don't know, man. Like
Very cool. Just
it looks
limitless growth for now.
it looks good so far. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so you mentioned you were looking for funding, I think, earlier. When did you, because I don't think you did get funding in the end. It's bootstrapped, right?
No, no, we couldn't get funding for Heritage. Like, I raised for Howitzer for the previous company, but I couldn't
Yeah.
raise for Heritage. Like, the thing is, we were trying to raise for a long time, I would say. Like, when we launched Heritage, I don't know how many people know, but the moment we launched Heritage, we were two or 3 months away from bankruptcy. So we were thinking about shutting down or stuff like that, but we were talking with some investors, like 5 to 7 investors, something like that, and all of them said no. And we are like, okay, we have to kind of like close down. But we did the AppSumo launch, which we made like 300,000 in 7 days, which gave us like an extra year of runway. And we were like, okay, we don't have to raise money initially, but maybe on the long run we are gonna raise. We tried raising a couple of times. Later, all the investors said no. And at the end, we had one investor agreeing, but we couldn't agree on the valuation. So he
Okay.
said no. And our final straw, like our final try to raise investor money, was from Y Combinator. So we had an interview with Y Combinator in the summer of 24. We jumped on a call, we talked with them, and they said no. I was like, okay. I was like really demolished because dude, it was my childhood dream to enter Y Combinator. And 2 weeks later, they called us again and they're like, let's chat again. And I asked around, and people told me probably they changed their mind. We jumped on another call. We talked for 40 minutes instead of the typical 10-minute interview. And again, they said no. So, like, it was our final straw. But from this perspective, if we raised VC money, we would have been growing slower than what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Because VC money means you have a lot of opportunities, a lot of options. And when you have a lot of options, it's easy to lose the focus. Like, for example, you have VC money, you can build 5 features, and people expect you to build 5 features. But when you don't have VC money, you can only build one feature. And you have to really think what's the feature you're going to build. And by really thinking what's the feature that you're going to build, you stay focused. Your product is simple, your UX is cleaner, you're really focused on what the user needs immediately, and you're just doing the baby steps, and you can shift the directions much faster. Because like if we raised VC money, probably we would have went to compete with tools like Apollo. Like we are going to build a lead database, parallel dialer, cold email outreach, stuff like that. And all of these things are a bunch of fronts. And the outbound industry is so volatile that things are changing on a monthly basis. For example, the hyper personalization. You remember when people were like,
Yeah.
"Hey, I saw that you liked Nick Velkovski post. Probably you're interested into this or that." That thing was super big at the beginning of last year and slowly died until the end of last year, right? Like if you're doing hyper personalization, people are like, oh, you're using AI and I'm not going to reply. So stuff like that, we wanted to build all of them when they popped up, even a month before they popped up. We were like, okay, this is the direction we have to go. Let's double down on this and stuff like that. But we didn't have the bandwidth to do it, so we had to do the
Yeah.
super crucial things for the users. And I do believe that allowed us to kind of like stay focused and grow as we are.
Okay, very cool. And what's the plan now? What's breaking now as you scale, or is it still just smooth sailing? Is it still just scaling up and up and up? What are you focusing on? I don't know, you're frozen on my end.
Yep, same here.
Same here.
You back?
Or okay, I'm back.
Oh, okay, cool. Did you hear my question?
No, no, I didn't.
Okay.
Can you please repeat?
No, I can't, Nick. No, I was just wondering, so what's the next step? You want to hit 20, 30, 50 million? What's breaking, or is it continuously just going up?
I
Is it
mean,
just continuous progress, or is there a particular thing now that you're focusing on to scale past that point?
we are focused on 2026 reaching like I thought by the projections is like I don't know if I can say this number, but like it's 22 mil by the end of
Nice.
the year. That's the focus that we have right now. And I mean the main objective is the same, like improve what we have, keep it super simple, add features that people really need, and stay the dominant player in the LinkedIn outreach market. So that's kind
Yeah.
of like the big picture. I'm not allowed to share the roadmap publicly, but like
That's fine.
really really cool things are cooking in the kitchen. So yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Um, okay, very cool. And have you seen your role in the company kind of change over the years?
Yeah,
Going from like a product founder to more of a, I'd imagine, a CEO position out. I know you are the CEO, but more a CEO position as opposed to a product founder nowadays.
definitely. Like I really studied this thing recently in the last couple of months and so on. There is a difference between being a founder and a CEO.
Mm,
Like being a founder is probably something that maybe you have it organically, like being risk averse, being witty, wanting to take risks, being adventurous, wanting to build, create something, and so on. And in my opinion, from 0 to 1, the most dominant skill that you have to have is a founder. Like you're pretty much the founder who has to get the product market fit. Around 1 million is where you hit product market fit with B2B SaaS product. Between 1 and 5 million, you have to nail the team. Like you have to set a really really good leadership team, and you kind of like slowly turn into a manager. And in my opinion, after 5 million you become like a CEO who has to
okay.
enable people. You have to keep your employees, you have to enable, you have to articulate the vision, you have to protect the culture, and it turns into a completely different thing. Like and my work evolved a lot. Like uh, from 0 to 1, I was like super operational on almost all of the fronts. Between 1 and 5, I was learning how to manage people. I was like deeper into hiring, finding the A players, making sure that everyone is gonna join and stuff like that. So I was more of person who hires people. And after 5, I became enabler, somebody who really has to protect the culture, and somebody who is mostly doing reviewing. So like right now, I'm only operational at the product stuff in the first phase, in the wireframing. Like
Okay, gotcha.
from 0 to 1, I was operational on support and stuff like that. Right now, I'm only operational on that thing, and I'm only reviewing stuff that somebody's doing. And it's really important to don't lose the focus of being in the details, and to not stop being the CPO, chief product officer of the company, because like there is this saying, a good CEO is a good CPO of a tech company. So and I really really believe in this saying, and I kind of like lead the company with that vision.
Okay, very cool. Very, very cool. And I remember at the talk, Vukashin, I hope I'm saying that right. For some reason, I keep getting it wrong.
Question is the question.
But the talk he was given about the marketing strategy that you guys had, go from 0 to 10 in 29 months. I think he said 90% of the growth was from inbound. Is that right? So
Yes.
loads of inbound marketing. And I'm not surprised the content game is on fire, guys. But I'm just curious, is that something you're going to change? Are you going to keep pushing content? Are you going to change that strategy? Can you even talk about that, or are you going to lean more into outbound?
Yeah, I mean, we don't plan to change it. When users love you and they talk about you, and the whole UGC is kind of like, in my opinion, it's the best
Yeah,
growth channel that you can have. So I don't believe we are gonna change it. I mean, I wouldn't like to change that. It's one of the most important things why we grew. Like UGC, people posting about us and talking about us on all of the socials, and we are one of the few, I think, it's us and Clay, the companies who are not paying their creators to post about them. Like we have
yeah,
strong creator and expert programs where we have a lot of benefits for all of these agencies who are talking about us, but we are not paying them for posting and stuff like that, like some of the other companies are doing. So it's a really strong motion for us, and I hope we are going to keep it. We are experimenting with ads and outbound right now. I mean, we just started 2 or 3 months ago, but so far everything has been inbound and UGC and all of these content loops that you're seeing, from YouTube to blogs to newsletters to LinkedIn profiles, kind of like internal LinkedIn profiles and user generated content and stuff like that.
that's fantastic. Very, very cool. And then what about you personally? Like, what are your goals with this? Do you want to keep scaling it and then eventually exit and hold on to that founder identity and found something else? Or do you want to hold on to like the CEO identity and keep growing and growing and growing it for as long as you can?
Uh, I see myself like I see myself more in the builder phase. Like for me, I'm more passionate about from 0 to 1, and I like to build products. I like to kind of like I'm really into the nice UX.
Yeah, yeah.
Solve a need for a customer, talking with the customers, being front facing. So I think I like the founder mode a lot, but I also want to go the CEO journey. Like I want to learn a lot. How to scale the companies, maybe later build something super big, that's life changing, that's industry changing, something like, I don't know, Uber or Airbnb or OpenAI and stuff like that. So definitely this is not my last venture, in my opinion. But it's a really nice business that I like, and I'm learning on the go. So
Okay, very cool. I think we can open it up for questions now. Dag, feel free to jump in and ask Nick any kind of technical question you want. I assume you're okay with technical questions, Nick.
let's try.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, so I'm not gonna be jumping on camera. I'm all sweaty. Sorry, guys. But yeah, I was gonna ask you about free trial to conversion, like the conversion rate on that. Like, would you recommend starting with a paywall on the free trial or no paywall to grow quickly?
Yeah, it depends on your cost, I would say. But like my advice would be remove all of the paywalls, remove all of the email validation, remove all of the obstacles and friction that the user could get, so you can get much bigger influx of users, especially if you're at the beginning. Like we had an onboarding in Harwich. Like you go in, you click here and there and stuff like that. And the moment we removed everything, like right now, when you start free trial on Harwich, you are given everything at once. We don't ask you for a card. You're just thrown into the product. And our conversion rate from free trial to paid is like 25% so far. So
Wow, that's really good.
yeah, I mean that would be my advice if you go in that direction. It also depends on how complex is your product, because like imagine if you build something that's super complex. I don't know. Imagine if it's something like Clay and you don't have any kind of onboarding and you're just thrown there and go and figure it out on your own. So it really depends. But like I'm vouching for making the job easier for the customer to get activated.
Okay, makes sense. Thanks.
Sure.
Go for it, Andrew.
Perfect. I've kind of got almost a two-part question. I don't know how much you can answer this, but my one as well. What's your guys' relationship with LinkedIn like? Because obviously it's about the product and the business is built around LinkedIn. People say it's like a great area in terms of the outreach. And the second part of the question is kind of what I'm asking is I'm an agency partner of HeyReach, love the tool, but I get people asking me, oh, is my account going to be safe? Is this allowed, etc. So what I've been saying right now is like, look, I'm using it. I wouldn't risk my LinkedIn if I thought it was going to be kind of banned, etc. But if you have a kind of a better answer for that I can use with clients when talking about it. But yeah, really just to know what if you're worried of LinkedIn just suddenly go one day, no, we're not allowed, then you've got up to 10 million, and then that's kind of single point of failure. But keen to get your view on that.
Yeah. So our point of view here is that we are not bypassing the LinkedIn limits. So what we are doing, we are just automating what you would do manually as a person. Like we are never gonna send more connections than you can do manually. We are not gonna scrape tons of data. We are not gonna do anything that's kind of like on the black side or on the dark side when it comes to LinkedIn. We are just something that's gonna automate your work so you're not clicking and doing things. And my main argument here is like, would LinkedIn stop OpenAI because OpenAI built Atlas and you can automate stuff on LinkedIn, or all of the agents around who can do actions on your behalf here? Like, we are not endorsing or playing around with fake profiles, avatars, stuff like that. We are just allowing a real user to do what they intend to do in a superhuman way, completely respecting all of the LinkedIn limits, not touching, scraping data, and going in all of those stuff. So that's how we are building the product, and that's why it's working for us so far.
And when you have people say to you, I imagine in your demos, probably one of the most common, well, when you were doing demos, obviously, and I think it's Elijah who's, I listened to a podcast with him. I thought it was really, I think it's a chief revenue officer, but I might be getting his name wrong, but he was saying about, yeah, people ask, oh, is my account going to be safe, etc. What do you say to people, or what do your sales guys say to people when people ask that question?
I mean, I think everyone from the sales guy says different thing, but like what I say is like, my account is connected there. Like my account is my business. Uh, we have our accounts connected and stuff like that. We cannot sign something where we guarantee 100% for something, because like we don't know if that user is going to use the tool only with HeyReach, or maybe do manual outreach on the side, or maybe connect it to two tools and stuff like that. There is an interesting thing that I saw. I don't know if you know the influencer Yasmin Illich. He has like 300,000 followers. He's like super against automation. He's never used automation, not even AI in his posts and stuff like that. And he posted a LinkedIn post like a week or 2 weeks ago, where LinkedIn banned his account.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like that guy, I have met him on conferences, and he's like always against that. He's like, oh, I'll never connect it to automation and stuff like that, and they banned that for that. So I was like, what's happening here? We haven't had any cases where we have done damage and stuff like that. So yeah.
And final question is, I don't know how much you're allowed to say, obviously, so, but have you had any interaction with LinkedIn themselves? As they must be aware of what you're doing. If they like been saying stop doing that, or just is it a case of they're turning the, obviously because it is you're doing it in that human way, but have they interacted with you? Obviously, I know you can't say too much, but just interested to see if they're came and talked to you.
They haven't, but also I'm not sure how much I can talk on this.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
They haven't.
All right, cool. Sholio, I hope I'm saying that right. Solio.
It's Solio.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
hello everyone. So my question has to do with using HeyReach. I use different softwares on HeyReach to scrape LinkedIn leads, like the sales navigator feature and the LinkedIn post reactors. So I have a particular question. It has to do with the sales nav. I believe whenever we want to scrape from sales nav, probably you get like 10K leads from sales nav, and you want to import it into HeyReach. The limit is always 2,400. I don't know, Nick, should we be expecting something whereby we can be able to like import over 2,400? Because whenever I want to import, I have to segment, cut down those leads to 2,500 or 2,400, so that I could be able to import everything. So should we be expecting above that 2,400 or?
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, so that's my question.
So kind of like the workaround how to get all of the 10,000 leads, and you can do that. We are not doing that within Herage because that's a limit that's imposed by LinkedIn, and we want to respect LinkedIn limits. So we are not adding it as out of the box feature. But there are some workarounds, and maybe there are some tools that are doing this.
Okay, thank you. So that's my question. Thank you for that.
Sure. Thank you for the question.
Okay, Georgie, I think you've got two questions.
Yes, sir. Nick, how's it going, brother? Phil, Eastern European, building a bootstrap startup here. So I wanted to ask initially two things about this. Number one, how did you follow like the whole pivot process, right? Like, how did it feel for you as a CEO? Because I'm also like the CEO of Signal Base, and I have two more co-founders, one technical, one more operational related. So how was that for you? If you can walk me through it a little bit more, because
Yeah.
it's somewhat of a similar situation, but not really. So yeah.
Yeah. For me, it was probably one of the hardest periods in my life, to be honest, because I didn't communicate it as pivoting, and I didn't want to even say to myself that we are pivoting uh, in the period where we were pivoting. Like this was the situation. Uh, we raised $500,000 for Howitzer, for the Raid marketing tool. We were back then, it was the biggest investment that ever happened in Macedonia. Like we
Mm.
were 22-year-olds, and out of the blue, we were on all of the billboards, on all of the portals. Everyone wrote about us. The president met with us. We were called on every show. Like, I don't know, we are going somewhere out and people are recognizing us. We were kind of like really the rock stars. Like we were getting stuff like, oh, the Mark Zuckerberg of Macedonia, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it really became our identity, and we're just 22-year-olds. And the moment, like a year later, when we had to pivot, it was like we're losing all of this identity. Like we had employees, we had 15 employees at that point, and we had to kind of like shut down everything. Reddit didn't care much about uh, us having investment or building a company or something like that. So it was really hard for me to go and say, hey guys, we are shutting down or we were pivoting. I was communicating it as we are building another product while we are putting this product on pause. We're building another company while we are doing this. So it was like a really hazy period. And honestly, it was kind of like my identity was shattered at that point because everything I had, me and my co-founder, everything that we had, we put into the company. Like we risked health, we risked friendships, we lost a lot of people in the whole process. So it was kind of like really unpleasant situation. But from this point of view, it was actually a blessing in disguise. Like if that never happened, we wouldn't have built Herage. And Herage, in my opinion, is much better business to run than a Reddit marketing tool that operates in a blue ocean where we have to invent the market instead of just go there and build a better product.
Sick. Sick. And secondary, as one bootstrapper to another, what are the top three mistakes that you'll never do again?
Top three mistakes that I would never do again. Like it's super easy for me to kind of like go back and be the smart guy right now that are gonna say, oh, these are kind of like the mistakes I did. I'll never do them again. So I always answer the typical answer like I wouldn't change anything. Why do I say this? Because like in all of this journey, you learn a lot, and the best way to learn things is to learn by your mistakes. And if I didn't do all of those mistakes, I probably wouldn't have been as good of an CEO, operator, or founder right now. Like they kill your ego. They make you know that you don't know a lot of things. Like they put you in always learning phase. You're humble and all of those things. So I'm really grateful for all of the mistakes that I did. But like some of the mistakes that I wouldn't do, probably the first thing is if I see that the business model or the business is not good enough, I'm gonna be kind of like, this is not good enough business. Like I created a solution and I try to find a problem for it. I wouldn't be kind of like blindly trying to the product somewhere and be like, this is the direction to go. That's the first thing. The second thing, I wouldn't build the initial product with juniors because the biggest obstacle for Hayrich for the first year and a half was the product. We started growing, we were growing faster than we could scale the technology. So there were a lot of times our product was considered as buggy, which was completely stuck from all of the users. Like, I don't know, you build a product for 500 users and there are like 3,000 users coming in and the product glitches. So you have to rebuild and rebuild and rebuild. And the first year and a half until we completely changed the team to seniors, it was like this. So that's the second mistake I wouldn't do. And the third mistake is I wouldn't build product for VCs. I would build product for markets because it's super easy to, you have an idea, you're building a product, and then a VC comes in and they're like, oh, the market is not big enough. You're not dreaming big enough. And you then try from kind of like building, let's say, a product for lawyers, you build it a general purpose product.
Mm.
It's yeah, on paper, it's much better to have that much bigger market. You can grow more and stuff like that. But instead of focusing on all of that, start with something, start making money, get to profitability. After profitability, get to product market fit, and you have an amazing business, especially if it's a SaaS recurring subscription. You keep the costs low, you have higher profit margins. It's a beautiful business. It's not a good business for the VCs because probably it's not going to scale to like billions or something like that, but it's going to be an amazing business for you. And the VCs, they don't, we founders tend to think that, oh, initially the first time founders and early stage founders were like, oh, the VCs know everything. If they give us money, it's validated, it's gonna work, it's gonna be a big thing or something like that. But honestly, the VC guys are just guys who are diversifying their portfolio, and you're just one item of that. If you fail, somebody is gonna go. That's the whole thing. I would build business for the need, not for VCs. So yeah.
Cool. Appreciate you.
Super solid advice.
Nick, I have a question.
Mhm. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah. So I was looking at your content on your website, and remember you said earlier hyper-personalization was very last year, but now it has changed. So you have all of the data you're collecting from your customers and clients. So what is working right now for outbound? Is it in-mail or connection requests, and how it is doing? Are you going to publish it on your Content Hub, or can you share it now?
Yeah. I mean, the thing I said was the trend of hyper personalization when everyone was approaching with like, oh, I saw you liked this or did this and stuff like that. That was my reference towards kind of like how the trends are changing. What's working right now is well optimized LinkedIn profile. Like you have solid picture, solid background, you're posting on LinkedIn, you have solid headline, you're concrete on what you're doing. That's the first super important thing when it comes to LinkedIn outreach, your profile. Because your profile is literally like your website. If you care so much for your website, for every pixel and stuff like that, you're probably gonna care about your LinkedIn profile as well. The second thing is how you're approaching. Like one of my favorite ways to approach, my favorite sequence is like their most recent post, but only if it's not older than 3 days, and then send empty connection request. And after accepted, after a couple of hours, then send the message. And the message shouldn't be pitch slapping. And the message is completely different from email outreach. Like one of the mistakes that I'm seeing people doing is like trying to treat LinkedIn as email. It's not like that. LinkedIn is a conversation starter. You have your face, people already trust you. When on email, you just have to shoot the offer directly. And on LinkedIn, you have to start conversation and pre-qualify the lead in the first interaction. Like ideally ask a question and get an answer and then continue the conversation. So those are the things that I'm seeing working really well when it comes to LinkedIn.
And you will say the in-mail, like on Sales Navigator or everything, rather than wasting your time on it, you should focus more on connection requests, building a relationship. Because I'm trying these sending in-mails, but doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean,
That's why.
emails are more like emails where you directly land in the inbox of your leads. There are different strategies. Like we are seeing companies who are, kicking ass with emails. But like I usually don't do emails personally, and I don't have the data on my mind to say kind of like about the difference. But connection requests and messages, the kind of like the natural human way of approaching works much better. Like imagine it like this: you see a girl at the bar, you approach with a drink, you're buying her a drink, and then you approach her. The chances of you getting in a conversation is much bigger than just going to her and being like, "Hey, you want to sleep with me tonight?" So that's the whole difference, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay. If it helps, I know from my own campaigns, I've never seen emails outperform standard connection requests and messaging. I mean, they still exist, and I still hear people talking about them. So maybe somebody has made them work.
There are
I've
agencies who are really growing on this thing. They
yeah
have a really solid strategy on this, and they're really growing. So
yeah. So there probably is a way, but I've never found it yet. So Andrew, I'll get back to you now in 1 second. Show Liu. I'm really sorry, I'm terrible with
No,
names. But
it's
first,
fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's
I'll
fine.
just let Andrew go first because he put up his hand a few minutes ago.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you. Go for it, Andrew. Still
No, I
there?
don't have a question. I was just being stupid in the chat. Apologies.
Oh, no worries. Sorry, go for it. Show Liu.
Okay. Nick, I have a question again, and it has to do with me trying something out with A-Rich the beginning of this year. So it has to do with A-Rich and smart leads. We all know that sending personalized messages does it better this time around rather than sending one message to couple of people. So we tried connecting A-Rich with Clay, and we looked for a way to send personalized messages from A-Rich to Clay, and I noticed that that option was not available. So rather than you have to just send one message to every lead for using smart lead, rather, sorry, not Clay, A-Rich with smart lead. So we tried sending personalized messages, using A-Rich with smart lead, and I noticed that that option was not available. So I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you get my question. So should we be expecting something better? Yeah.
So you want to send personalized messages to all of the leads separately. You can do it in Clay. Like, let's say you have all of the leads in Clay, you generate messages for all of them. And within HeyRich, you can send the whole message as a custom variable. Let's say you call it message one. And within HeyRich sequence, you just reference how that variable is noted, like message one. And it's gonna pull the data from Clay and it's gonna show it. And if your question is about sending a HeyRich message from HeyRich to SmartLead within the native integration, I'm not sure if I understand. Did what I said answer the question before, or is it something completely different?
It has to do with agents. I think connecting smart lead with A-Rich using the agents also. So we tried sending we noticed an option whereby you can send messages from A-Rich with the smart list. So you basically just have to connect it together. So we tried sending it and we noticed that you can't send personalized message using that option. And
Yeah,
we
so
reached out. I think we reached out also.
you want to send SmartLead messages within HeyRich, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we are not allowing it so far, and I'm gonna tell you why. Like we were really thinking on how we should like integrate email within HeyRich. We wanted to go with the already existing email outreach tools, but the main thing was like, should we add like you send a connection request and then you have send email with SmartLead or send email with Instantly or something like that. But the thing is that LinkedIn campaigns and email campaigns have different velocity. What do you mean by different velocity? Like on email, you can send much more than you can send on LinkedIn and much faster. Like on LinkedIn, you have to get accepted, your connection request to get accepted so you can send message. That's a whole difference. So that's why we decided you execute your, let's say, first part of the campaign, let's say the LinkedIn part, and then from here, you're sending the lead to SmartLead where you can execute the email campaign, or you can do it on SmartLead and then send it in HeyRich. We decided to separate the whole logic of LinkedIn and email between these two platforms because it's going to be much more easier to manage, and mixing them is not going to produce the wanted results. I know that on first it sounds like, oh, just add them in one sequence. I want to send SmartLead message from within Heritage, but it's much better for them to be separated so you can have better control on both of the channels separately. That was kind of like our reasoning, and we validated this idea a lot with our experts and creators, and most of them were kind of like for the current approach that we have. So that's why we went with that direction.
Okay, thank you so much. That explains everything better.
Sure.
Thank you.
Christian, do you have a question?
Yeah. Hi, Nick. Nice to meet you.
Hi.
Also kind of the question was covered in terms of, how to do good outreach on LinkedIn. But my question is overall, there's a lot of noise in the industry, OpenClaw, Cloud Code, and other stuff on how to use outbound, and a bunch of other noise. But I wanted to get your opinion. Where do you think the outbound industry is moving in general? Like, let's say 1 year or 2 years from now, considering, reply rates are dropping. And what do you think is something to always pay attention to in order to stay on top of your game and always make sure, no matter how the industry is looking, your email stands out and you get your pipeline?
Yeah. I mean, it's really hard to answer where the industry is going to go. Like everyone is going to tell their fantasy on where the industry is going to be going. We stopped trying to predict this thing a few years ago. Like, it's really easy. I'm going to make a business plan and these are the features that we are going to build and this is where the industry is going to go. But in reality, the industry never goes where you think it's going to go. You Even if I start building like, oh, I'm seeing OpenClaw and all of those things, so probably it's gonna move in agentic version where agent is gonna send to agent and stuff like that. Until it happens, guys, years and years are gonna pass by. Like we are living in a bubble. We are kind of like seeing OpenClaw and all of those things, and maybe we know how to set up and how to do them. But like 99.9% of all of the other people in the world don't know about this. Like, for example, you have no idea how many people don't even know that you can automate LinkedIn. Like I was at an event in San Francisco and I was talking and somebody asked me, what do you do? And I was like, I built HeyRich. It's a LinkedIn sequencer. You can like LinkedIn automation tool. And people were like, what? You can automate LinkedIn? And all of these were GTM enterprise people. So like huge percentage of the market don't even know that you can do some of these hacks that we are using right now. It's kind of like, the typical median. Only the evangelist and the people who are uh, really kind of like in the future, which is the present right now, kind of like really in the future are doing these things, the evangelists. But like the majority of the people don't even use and know about these things. And the second thing is the user adoption. User adopting super slowly. That's why you have Clay being like a $5 billion company and only doing like 100 million in revenue with all of the funding and all of the buzz and stuff like that. Because it's really hard for people to adopt that technology and to learn how to do it and to do that market shift. They're still using Sales Navigator or Apollo or Zoom for stale data when you have all of these things. And for us, it looks like the whole world is moving in that direction because we are around people like that. You have on LinkedIn, probably all of your followings are talking about, oh, Claude Code killed this LinkedIn agency that's making 5K, or this thing killed this or that. Like I I'm I haven't seen any marketing channel being killed so far. You know how many times people said, "Oh, Google killed SEO," or Google just killed cold email outreach. What it did, it made it more expensive. It made it less effective, but people are still using it. Like back then, for doing cold email outreach as an agency, you were spending, I don't know, $200 for a tool. Right now, an agency is spending like 10,000 only on infrastructure, but they're still doing it because those are the channels: LinkedIn, email, cold calling. Those are the channels, and they're gonna become harder, they're gonna become more expensive and so on, but people are still gonna use them because
Yeah.
how else you're gonna approach people?
No, yeah, 100%. And I completely get what you're saying. And I hate that. I wish there was a dislike button on LinkedIn, because when I see Claude just killed cold outbound for the like 15th time on my working day, I just want to put it like down. But yeah, also just a quick follow-up on that question, on the point that you made. Also, one of my question is like, what do you guys do at HeyReach, and just in general, maybe just for myself who does also cold outbound, what do you think maybe are some resources and some things to watch out to always see where is the trend going? Like obviously you can't predict the future, but just like you said, how can you always make sure that no matter the changes that took place, you are the one that gonna get your email landed and replied?
Yeah. I mean, we are, for example, we just started with outbound. We weren't doing outbound at all until a few months ago. Like we were doing different, like specific campaigns and stuff like that. We started doing outbound and we are outsourcing it to lead gen agencies who are our customers right now. Like we have two lead gen agencies doing outbound for us. I mean, the thing is, in my opinion, you shouldn't be focusing that much on where's going to be the future, but you should be working in the present because the present is long. Like even when did generative AI popped up? Like 2022, right? What industry did it kill so far? Nothing. Nothing. Like they're like, oh, you're gonna say, oh, it's gonna kill the developers. No, it's gonna make them more productive. Oh, it's gonna kill cold email outreach. No, it's gonna make it better at research and maybe better at structuring the messages and stuff like that. So I wouldn't worry too much about the future and about, oh, I'm gonna try to predict how the cold outreach is gonna move so I can land in primary and stuff like that. Just kind of like go and do your thing and do it smart. And like I don't have kind of like a clear answer on how you can predict those things. Like for example, for us, it's we're just building for the user. Yes, we're playing around with OpenClaw, with LLMs, with Cloud Code, with experimental features and stuff like that. We're playing with those things, but it's not that, oh, I'm gonna do major shift in this direction, because I do believe that by being present, you're already, in the future somehow. So yeah,
No, yeah, amazing. Cool. Thank you so much.
thank you for
I
that.
think it's also helpful to think about all these things as if they're like a logarithmic function. If you've got the x-axis and the y-axis, like it gets harder and harder and harder, and then at a certain point, it just starts to plateau, and it doesn't really change that much. Like how hard, if we think about email, I think it's the easiest example to imagine. How hard can they make it to land in the inbox before their platform actually becomes unusable at a general level? There's all if you can send an email to one person from one account to another account, there's always going to be a way for somebody to spam. But it's also the core product. They're not going to be able to get rid of that. So it will get harder, but as long as it's still cost effective, then it's going to work. And I also think that's why the personalization thing jumped and then it dropped a good bit, because yes, to a certain point, it makes that cost equation better, but people were jumping way too far into it, and it actually increased that customer acquisition cost, and it made that equation not make sense anymore. And people are now moving even closer back to that like spray and pray approach because it's cheaper per customer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
No,
would
I
be
really
my
like the
opinion.
function analogy.
Yeah.
I completely agree
Um,
with what you said.
yeah. Now, does anybody have any other questions? If not, I've got one more question about hiring for you, Nick. All right. How do you build such an awesome team? The culture with HeyReach is fantastic. I don't think I met a single person on the HeyReach team that wasn't just great fun. How do you manage that?
Yeah, like I spent a lot of time on hiring, and I put a lot of effort into hiring. Like for example, Vuk. I tried to hire Vuk for 3 years, even for my previous company. Like for example, he lives in Belgrade. I lived back then in Skopje, which is like 5 hours drive. What I was doing, once he left Limelight, he joined some other company and stuff like that, and then he left that company to start his own agency. And I was like, I started texting him. I was chatting with him from time to time on LinkedIn, but I was texting him, hey man, next week I'm coming to Belgrade. uh can you meet on Wednesday for cocktails or something like that? And he's gonna be, oh, I cannot do it on Wednesday, I can do it on Thursday. What was happening in the background? I never planned to go to Belgrade. Me and my co-founder, on Thursday, we wake up in the morning, we drive 5 hours to Belgrade, we meet with Vuk for cocktails. After that ends, we are sleeping at a friend, and in the morning we are coming back. And I was doing this on and off rides all the time, kind of like to try to hire him. I've been chasing him more than every girl I have ever chased in my life to hire him, and we landed him. And kind of like for me, it's like whenever I want to have somebody in the team, I kind of like just pick them and kind of like I put my focus on hiring and I just go for it. And you have to be really mindful about the people that you're building the company with. I believe in the hire fast, fire fast, and you really have to make a team that you absolutely enjoy to work with.
Very cool. And you
Yes.
mentioned once you find somebody, you just really focus on hiring them.
Yes.
How do you find those people that you want to hire?
I mean, it's super simple. Like you find people in your industry, let's say people who have already done it, but who haven't made, let's say people who have done it, but are not gazillionaires and are still passionate about the industry and are still, working in the industry and stuff like that. Probably those are your potential people. But like, it's really, it's really wrong to believe that you're gonna find a person and he's gonna crack it for you. A lot of founders are like, oh, I'm gonna build a product. I'm just gonna hire a smart sales guy or go-to-market guy, and he's gonna go and sell for me. In reality, it never works. You have to do the hard work. You have to do everything that you want later people to do. You have to set the base, and later those people are gonna go and scale those things that you have built.
Fantastic. That answered my question perfectly. If nobody has any other questions, I think we'll let Nick go. I'm sure he's got a lot to do.
Thank you very much, and thanks a lot for coming, guys. See you.
Thank you,
Thank
Nick.
you very much, my
Thank
friend.
you, Nick.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you.
Cheers.